Hello. So as you know, this video series is titled Addressing Intercultural Conflict. And by that, I mean that we're going to actually show you some good case studies of how different academics in different schools have addressed intercultural conflict, and it's specifically from a social justice perspective. All of this information comes from Frey and Palmer's book, Teaching Communication Activism, Communication Education for Social Justice. It's this book here. They've actually got 2 volumes of it now, and they offer different examples of how people have put together good social justice projects at universities, at different institutions. So this can help us understand a lot of what the chapter's talking about this week about actually doing practice, right? Practicing good, effective intercultural communication with the focus on bringing about social justice. So the first case we'll talk about is developing a sustainable program of community activism within a Latina migrant community. This was done through Georgia Southern University, who is, we know now, is a new member of the Sun Belt. And to give you a little bit of a context, there are 10,000 annual migrant workers who come into Georgia, specifically around the Vidalia area, to do the annual Vidalia onion harvest. In Lyons, Georgia, this has led to the Latino population getting up to a level of 17.8%, which is a significant Latino population in that area. And as a result of that, there have been a significant rise in violent acts against immigrants, against people that come in to end up living in the area, but also people part of the 10,000 annual migrant workers that come in. So this kind of strong anti-immigrant sentiment in the area and a significant rise in violent acts towards that group. So you can see here, and I want to always focus on the tension between cultures. Intercultural communication means nothing if it's, oh, we're all one happy family, kumbaya, we hold hands and we sing together, and oh, you're different and you're unique, and look at you, you wear these interesting clothes, and oh, and you eat this interesting food, oh, isn't this wonderful? That means nothing, because we have to be able to understand how to function when in fact things become difficult, when our differences become necessary aspects that we need to negotiate, and we need to function within effectively negotiating that difference. So this program is associated with the Southeast Georgia Communities Project. And so what the service learning project they did was based on Dwight Conkergood's 1980 model of ethical dialogic engagement. So Dwight Conkergood is one of my heroes in communication studies work. He did a lot of work with populations that didn't have voice. And so he had a specific model of ethical dialogic engagement that said that when you engage the other, you need to do it through a certain ethical procedure, and we won't get too much into that at this point because we just don't have time. But you can look up Conkergood in 1985 if you want to look more further into his work. So there's a student engagement with the migrant workers. So there are 2 things. There was the ethnographic encounter where the students went out and actually worked with the workers, and then journals and reflective papers that students actually recorded their experience. And along with that, a student video project of the experience. So you had the students who were engaged in kind of the ethnographic studies, intercultural engagement, and then you also had media students that were that needed to learn how to actually shoot video and so forth, and be able to edit video and produce video. So there were a few things that they were specifically looking for. One is understanding the sources of pre-existing stereotypes, so that people that had ideas of the other and to understand where the sources of those stereotypes come from. Also, an opportunity to use course concepts, and for this course there was this notion of code switching that they really wanted to focus on, and have students understand that concept and actually put it into action. This is one of the reasons why I ask you to actually work with a group so that you can have some experience of this. And as you reflect on your experience, I want you to use the code concepts, the course concepts, in your reflections to actually show that you can put these concepts into practice. Okay, in the next presentation, we'll talk about another example, another intervention.